evening. The meeting will come to order. This is the meeting of the Select Board of the Town of Rochester on April 14th at 6:15. The agenda conforms to the open meeting law. It has been posted in 3 places, has been placed on the website, and has been emailed to the many emails of interested parties. So I believe that we have the green lights to go ahead and with a conformed open meeting. The first thing on our agenda is approve the minutes from March 24th. I have read those minutes over. I do have one correction in the paragraph that speaks about the Bethel Mountain Sidewalk project. There was a sentence that read, "He indicated the current sidewalk was in disrepair and needed to be extended 5 feet in width." I think we should put the word to 5 feet in width, not extend 5 feet. And that's all I found. It's very well written and very comprehensive, and even has the presentation that was given about the sidewalks attached to it. I move that we accept the meeting minutes with that one correction.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello, Robert. Can you hear us?
Yeah, thank you, Patty. I just wanted to know that I've been connected because
Yes.
we never know what's going to happen.
We just started the meeting about less than a minute ago. Thank you.
Thank you. I've been listening to it, but
Okay.
Zoom and every. Okay, so I don't want to interrupt.
Here's your
But,
hello back. Yep.
Let's move.
Push the mute button.
Thank you.
Okay. The next item we have on our agenda. This makes me comfortable. New business, change to the select board meeting time from 6:15 to 5 p.m. or 5:30 p.m. We're making a decision on which time works. It's okay with doing if we do that now, right? The reason behind this is that the girls in the office work until 5 o'clock. It's a long day for them to begin with, and with the meeting being at 6:15, they're, especially in the winter, we're all going home in the dark, we're having dinner late, and so this kind of streamlines and moves people along back to their home at a reasonable hour. So, you have an opinion here?
5 o'clock is fine with me.
Okay, then I think it's gonna be fine with Chad too. So I propose that we change the time of all of our scheduled select board meetings to 5 p.m. on the second Monday and fourth Monday of each month.
I second that.
I would like to make a comment.
Go ahead, we're open for discussion.
The select board meeting should be moved to 7 to 7:15 at night so that taxpayers can be not accommodating those that want to go home and cook dinner while we all try to voice our opinions. You
don't have an opinion at 5 o'clock, Robert?
I think the meeting at 5 p.m. is a disgrace to the taxpayers, and it should be moved to 7 to 7:15 and get takeout by Uber or somebody. And so sorry for the people that signed up for jobs that are so sorry to have to drive and stay a long day, just like the legislature. Oh, so sorry. So I think that might drive my point home. Yeah, well, that's ironic. Drive my point home. Do not think I would like to be doing some projects on my property rather than going through this. So it's not accommodating the select board, the 2 new ones, and the employees appointed or paid for to say, oh, we want to get home a little earlier. Well, how
Well,
about
we're
all the
saving
mothers?
heat as well, Robert. You know, in the wintertime, we're not heating the room, for that extra hour. So
Well,
it's,
if
it's a,
you people, if the town of Rochester can't afford to heat their building for 2 hours
Oh, for
longer,
crying out loud, go.
Rochester has a major problem.
well,
So now you're
it's a
saying
fact, it's
the
a
heating.
factor. Robert, it's a
It's a
factor.
fact.
So
You're telling me after Stockbridge is paying and accompanying Rochester to pay $60,000 to pay it for an empty building that's been
okay,
empty
we're
for.
moving off topic now. So thank you
Oh,
for your
really?
opinion. Thank you for your opinion. And the topic right now is the time of the select board meeting. So does anybody else have any discussion on that? Well, it has been second, so all in favor?
Aye?
Aye. So starting with our next select board meeting, which is April 28th. The meeting will take place at 5 o'clock. Orca, 5 o'clock. And Martha, 5 o'clock. So we will try to spread the
ma'am.
word around. Thank you. And you can put that in the paper, Martha.
I will.
Okay. We will move on to the third thing on our agenda, which is appointing Two Rivers Regional Commission, and they're looking for someone to be a representative to their Transportation Advisory Committee. I do have a letter from them that the person that was on the committee, I'm supposed to let them know whether that person still wants to be on the committee or would there be any changes. I approached that person and Dune says that he would like to continue to hold that position.
So I didn't know I was on the transportation committee representative. I thought I was just the
Alternate.
alternate.
But
Yeah,
it seems as though there's just two. I don't see alternates from their point of view. It's
Okay.
a regional one, a regional board member, and the transportation representative.
Okay.
I think we're both invited to all of the
Yeah,
meetings.
sure. I'll do that.
Thank you. Got one.
All right.
Okay, so
Thank you, sir.
I
Unless
move
someone else
that we
really wants
appoint, we continue to
You been
appoint.
there, done that?
I move that we continue to appoint Dune as our representative to the Two Rivers Ottaquechee Regional Commission Transportation Advisory Committee Board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You got it. You're not done with us yet. Next on our agenda is number 4, discussion about petition received on March 27, 2024 with verified and approved signatures. Once the petition was received, it was verified by the town clerk that everyone signed it was a Rochester voter. There were plenty of signatures, 95 total is what's noted at the bottom of the list. It is a public list if anybody wanted to look at it. We took this and we ran it through our town attorney, Jim Barlow, and I guess I will read his message back. Regarding the high school property, March 27, 25 petition. I have reviewed the petition received on March 27th at 11 a.m. The petition directs the select board to warn a special town meeting to vote on the following article. Shall the town of Rochester vote to rescind the decision made by the select board to accept the repurposing proposal presented by VHI, all allow the voters to decision if they want to explore other repurposing options and demolish the former high school building by Australian ballot. In my opinion, the Rochester Select, this is in Jim Barlow's opinion, the Rochester Select Board is not legally obligated to warn a special town meeting to vote on this article. Vermont statute provides that the Select Board may warn a special municipal meeting when it deems necessary and shall call a special meeting on the application of 5% of the voters. However, The statutory right to petition for a special town meeting is subject to the restriction that the business petitioners seek to conduct at the special town meeting is properly delegated to the voters' authority. The Rochester Select Board has general supervision of the affairs of the town. This broad representation includes authority to undertake many administrative duties imposed and authorized by the statutory law concerning the safety, convenience, and health of their townspeople. The Select Board's general supervisory authority is derived from statute, not from a vote of the electorate. It is generally recognized that 24 VSA 872A includes supervision over town buildings. By contrast, when a municipality has adopted the municipal manager form of government, this authority is vested in the municipal manager who has charge and supervision of all public town buildings, repairs thereon, and repairs of buildings of the town school district upon requisition of the school directors. The Vermont Supreme Court has consistently recognized a select board's authority to make decisions and take actions concerning town-owned property. While the legislature can create exceptions or limits to the authority granted under 24 VSA 872A, the legislature has imposed no limit or exception for managing or operating municipal buildings. Thus, acting under authority granted in 24 VSA 872A, the Rochester Select Board is legally authorized to consider and accept proposals for repurposing the former Rochester High School building, which the town, does not presently own but intends to acquire under provisions of Section 6A of the Articles of Agreement for the Rochester Stockbridge Unified School District, and the terms of a recently executed purchase and sale agreement for the property. Because the article in the petition does not set forth a clear right which is within the province of the town meeting to grant or refuse through its vote, the Rochester Select Board is not legally obligated to call a special town meeting to vote on the petitioned article. I trust this is responsive to your inquiry. If you had any questions, do not hesitate to contact me. This can be made available if anybody wants to read it. It also cites the town of Brattleboro versus Garfield, Lawton versus the town of Brattleboro. So it cites different examples which backs up the attorney's opinion. This opinion did cost us $375, the taxpayer dollars in legal opinion. I just wanted to footnote that as well. As for the petition itself, the way the petition was written, it says, shall the town of Rochester vote to rescind the decision made by the Select Board? The Select Board never adopted a plan for the VHI. We have never fully 100% adopted that plan, that commitment. We have only supported their investigation, their endeavors, and we have never sat there and adopted it saying this is what we are adopting as our plan going forward. Therefore, we can't rescind something that was not made as a decision. You can't reverse a decision that was never made. So that said, the petition is not clearly written. Therefore, we don't feel that we want to act upon it. Since then, we also have other plans. I believe we have 2 other plans for the building being investigated and looked into as possibilities for the building. So therefore, having a vote about what to do with the building may still be premature, and it may need to take place at a later date. But I do not believe that now is the time, and I believe that the Select Board members with me all agree that this type of vote can still come in the future, but now is probably not the time to do it. It'll certainly would not be before we actually own the building. So we are kind of moving this down the road a ways. hopefully we don't have to move it down the road too far, but it's not something that we're adopting at this point in time to move to a vote. We do hear what the town is saying, and we do take it into account, obviously, but we are welcoming other ideas for the building, as you will hear. And so, with that said, at this time, we're not gonna take any action for a vote, but it will stay on the table as a consideration going forward.
I guess the only thing that I would add to that is, there's been a lot of misunderstanding about votes. And the select board has made no decision about whether there will or will not be a vote. So, just wanna make that clear.
Are you taking comments, or are we just done?
I am taking comments, just up for discussion.
I mean, I would just like to reiterate a point that I made a couple of meetings ago, which is to say, per the attorney's letter, the select board has statutory authority to make decisions about how buildings are being used. And so for me, the question about whether or how this particular building should be treated differently than other buildings, and putting it to a vote, to my mind, would be treating it differently, is not something that I have found to be warranted. So in general, I would say again that to me, it falls under the purview of the select board, and I do not see the need for a vote at this time.
Well, that would,
I have a question.
go ahead, Robert.
I think it's a proper protocol for a person that is speaking live or on Zoom to introduce themselves, and the select board to confirm that they should speak and go forward. Who just said what you... I have no idea who that person is. So who...
Well, why don't you introduce yourself?
Robert, that was my mistake. You are correct. I should have said that, and I support that. This is Mary Frattini.
I'm asking Patty
Listen,
Harvey.
she's
I'm asking
introducing-
Patty Harvey to introduce you and say, I don't know who you are. So Patty Harvey, who is that person that just spoke?
That person is Mary Frattini.
Well, that's good. Well, I think that's,
Yeah, thank you.
that's proper.
Okay, very good.
Who are you?
Did you introduce yourself? It's not
Well,
open that
what would you
camera.
like me to do? My
Introduce
name is Robert
yourself.
Frank.
Thank you.
I'm introducing myself in a proper and elegant manner. My name is Robert
Yeah,
Frank.
yeah.
I live in Bethel. My number is 802-767-4998. If you want my last four digits of my social security number, I'll share that with you as well.
Get him off.
Thank you. We're all set. Okay, let's move on. I think we're ready to move on. Okay. Well, into happier things. We're going to decide whether we are going to give permission for the 4th of July festivities. Martha Slater, would you like to explain what those festivities are going to be this year? Is this a special year for us?
Yes, can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, it's not, and I haven't figured out the theme yet, because all of a sudden it just dawned on me how quickly it was coming up in a few months, and I have to get going on the plans. But what we will have is the traditional things. We will the Pierce Hall will be dealing with having their chicken barbecue that they do every year. But what I'm in charge of is the parade that comes down Route 100, Main Street, and there'll be games for kids on the park, and there'll be some live music on the bandstand, including one of your fellow people there, Rob Gardner, who plays with one of the bands, and the whoever shows up, jam band, and the Peavine Boys, and or Pea Pickers, excuse me. Anyway, I'm praying for good weather. We'll have judges judging the first, second, and third place winners in the parade, and they'll get trophies. And all the usual Fourth of July stuff. If anybody has an idea for the theme that they want to suggest to me, I'm open to suggestions. And I've been doing this for years and years and years. So, but I need to get permission from the select board every year to do this. And the town clerk's office staff have been kind enough to help me with sending out the mailing, et cetera. So,
I have a question, Martha.
yes.
This particular year, we are celebrating a milestone for the state of Vermont. It is our 250th anniversary, if I have the number right. That could possibly be your theme.
Okay. Thank you. I had forgotten about that. I will write that down now and consider
Time flies. Okay.
Well, I wasn't around back then, but 250th anniversary. Cool. That's wonderful. Well, thank you very much for mentioning that to me. And if you and the rest of the select board would be willing to give me permission to continue, I'd like to hopefully we'll plan something that'll be a lot of fun for everybody in town. And it has been for a number of years. People tell me they like it every year. So,
well, I move that we give Martha permission to start the arrangements for a great 4th of July festivity.
I enthusiastically second.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank
you. Got it. You got it, Martha.
May
Thank
I make
you.
a comment?
Yes, this is Robert Franks, correct?
Thank you, Patty. I just want to put kudos out to Martha Slater, for I believe it's 36 years he's been doing the park 4th of July celebration. And
I don't think it's quite that long, but close.
Well, I just want to put
Girl's
kudos
only
out to
31.
you for your intentions and the goodness, not just for the residents, but for the children of this town.
Thank you. Okay, next on our list is discussion about the use of private, personal, and/or business use of digital communications while under oath to serve the tax-paying public. I believe that we will be speaking with Robert Franks on this subject.
Yes, well, I believe that the town of Rochester has been, we're going to go back to 9 years, 10 years of my request for the former chair of the Rochester Selectboard to gather and use a proper and legal email address, not involving his business, and I was denied. The quote is from the former chair of the Rochester Select Board. I've used this email since email was invented, and it's always worked for me. That would be in capital letters. It worked for him. He's involved with bike trails, sales of bikes, and all kinds of other property ownership with trails. I'm not going to mention any other names, but this is a very, very important situation. And
Robert, do you have anything to say about today's here and now?
Today, I'm sorry. What are you saying?
All of the select board members on the current board have separate email addresses from their personal email addresses. So, is that satisfactory to you?
No, the use of a chair of a select board member retroactively is at risk. So what I'd like to do is ask a few questions has anyone or everyone on the Rochester Select Board and the appointed officials and employees done the Act 167 mandated, response to the law that was put in on January 1st, 2025. Dune said, "Oh, I read that. I attended the classes." Not one select board member said, "Yes, I've done that." Not one person appointed, not one employee communicated that they took the mandated classes by the law of Vermont under Act 167. So with that said,
That's not true. Dune did take the class, and Dune is our designated agent for the Code of Ethics.
that's
I believe
not
that's
my
what you're
question.
talking about.
Did you
What-
take the course, Ms. Harvey?
We have a designated agent, which is Dune.
No,
who
no,
continues to
it's not a
operate in that.
designated agent. It is every employee elected, appointed, or employed by a town in the state of Vermont has to take that course.
I've
So
taken that
it's
course
obvious.
several times.
Well, you didn't.
I've
did you
taken the
just say
course
you-
several times.
Well, did Kristen take the course?
I don't know, but I can speak for myself that
No,
I have
I'm
taken
asking
the
for a
course
yes or no.
several times. Yes. About 15
you-
times.
You took the course. I'm asking if every elected or appointed or employee of the town of Rochester's whatever has adapted and absorbed and took the course. Yes or no?
Okay, we will look into it and get back to you at our next meeting because that's not exactly what was on the agenda.
Our town clerk has her hand raised on Zoom.
Julie?
Well, I'm
I would
gonna
like to
read-
hear from Julie.
Hi.
Hi.
I know we have a bunch of classes this year coming for all employees to take. They just
Right.
have not provided those for us yet.
Yeah, usually
So-
when something comes into effect, they have a year to take the classes.
Yep.
I've taken it many times as a realtor.
So, I'd like to read a number of words that are at risk to every member sitting there and, transcribing whatever the minutes will be. And I'm going to go down the list. Act 167, conflicts of interest, nepotism, corruption and accomplices, influence, stronghold, denial, risk, digital content, devices, texting during meetings, protocol, disobedience, PPP recipients, statutes of limitations. So retroactively, every digital device held by a business owner or a select board member or a appointed member is at risk. And I don't understand why the town of Rochester, the taxpayers, including the select board, never asked a question. And the question would be to the former select board chair, why are you using your Dune at Green Mountain bikes to represent a town of 05767? It's a absolute total conflict of interest without saying a word, without typing a word.
Well, you are
Really-
entitled to that opinion, Robert, so we can,
No,
we
it's
can
not.
move on from there.
It's not my opinion. It is a statute.
Okay,
so-
thank you for that.
Well, it's something that, you know, the town select board and everybody in this meeting should be aware of. Because
Okay,
it's a
you've made us
retroactive-
aware of that.
No.
We are
Patty,
aware
I
of
want
it.
to make this,
Thank you.
I want to make this clear. Act,
Okay, you have
What?
made it clear.
no, I haven't. Act
Okay.
167 is the best piece of legislation that was put forth in this god-awful Montpelier State House that is so helpful for people who are trying to survive under the.
Okay, we're gonna put you on
You
hold for a
understand?
moment. Do we have someone else that wants to speak?
Oh, that's great. I'm
Thank
very
you.
interested.
Yep.
Hi, my name is June Hendricks, and I just want to say, I did not ask Robert to give me a free advertisement on the select board meeting there. So please, let's just focus on the topic at hand.
Thank you.
Well,
Well, I'd like to make a comment.
Oh,
With the
tell them-
laughter that goes on in your select board meetings is a disgrace to the taxpayers. It's not,
So
these
noted.
are not laughable matters.
So noted.
So-
Thank you. We're going to move on. Number 7 on our list. Discussion about a high school building proposal. This one is pointed towards Mr. Rob Gardner. You have the floor.
Thank you. Have both of you read the paper I sent you?
I have.
Yes.
I'll try to make this brief, but it's kind of a big subject. So you may remember on the previous episode of the select board, I asked the board to consider the high school issue not just in terms of a building to save, but a property that might be developed. And they said, yeah, sure, Mr. Smarty Pants, go and see what you can do. Now, I had been, a couple had approached me who bought a couple of years ago the old Writers Retreat up on Marshbrook Road, the Harvey Mountain Inn, I think. She's a real estate agent, and he's a developer with the largest development company on the East Coast, maybe in the United States. I mean, a huge company. And he was interested in this property, not to personally develop it, but in this idea that that's another way for the town to look at it. And he wanted to talk it over. So having gotten this from the select board, we met, and he's a very nice guy and was very generous with his thinking. And he came up with a very clever concept. And he and I wrote up a 12-page talking paper, not really a proposal because it hasn't got that much detail. There it is. And I have a couple of copies here if anybody wants to want it, describing his concept. The concept is that the high school building continues its renovation to completion, assuming they can, and they do. That finishing that, the elementary school moves into the high school, now renovated with much lower energy costs. The elementary school is demolished and housing is built on the site of the elementary school, which is above the floodplain. He thinks that you could support probably 50 units on the 4 acres or whatever the acreage is on there. That's the term, it's a 30,000 foot footprint, 30,000 square foot footprint. So one floor would be 25 units, 2 would be 50 units, and so on. So that was his idea. This is a very complicated process, and it would eventually probably cost $15 million. In order to do this, first of all, the school would have to decide whether they would do that or not, which would be difficult for them right now because of the political upheaval that's going on right now in the Capitol. But first of all, they'd have to sign off on that. If Stockbridge went crazy or something, then that wouldn't be, unless they closed the school, that wouldn't be possible. Then you'd have to get a lawyer to very clearly lay out what the protections of the town were in terms of what the developer could do. Then you'd have to get a feasibility guy to come and look at the property and decide whether or not it was feasible. All of these things cost money. Then you would, once these things were determined, you would basically put the place up for sale to attract a developer or go talk to a developer. There's a very good developer, I think in Montpelier, that did a big 240 unit housing project in Middlebury that he suggested would be good to talk to. Once you find a developer, that is assuming you do, and it's kind of like selling your house, you don't know whether you're gonna sell your house. But once you locate a developer, and Phil's feeling was that this was not out of the question. Nothing is guaranteed, but not out of the question. Once you secure a developer, the developer takes care of everything else. The design, the Act 250, the water and sewage, the parking, all the details. They find the investors to make it go. They handle all of that stuff. But that's why you need this upfront legal protection. So that, in a nutshell, that's what it is. And so what I'd suggest to the select board, if it was me, I'd take this proposal and give it to the budget committee and the housing committee and the zoning committee and say, what do you think? And I would get together a little task force for 1 or 2 meetings of people with professional experience in the building trades. Sit down and talk to them, what do you think about this? And then put your heads together and maybe have a public meeting if you want, or whatever. Just get to the point that, is the town comfortable with this? And it's all of its various parts. And then do the initial investigations. We already sent a note to the school board letting them know we were talking about this so they wouldn't read about it from Martha and not be the first to hear about it. So that's the end of my presentation.
So this presentation that you have in mind, is this intended to possibly coordinate services with the existing VHI plan?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
I can speak to that if you want.
If you think that it's premature?
Well, I had a long meeting with Vic about this. And he had a lot of concerns, but basically, he said he would see this as 2 projects moving kind of in parallel. And if one failed, then the other one was going. It would, in my mind, benefit the other group if this were seen as a larger housing project, because more money, you'd have access to housing money and school money. Whether you did it, we don't know. But at least that would kind of open their doors. Vic made the point, and it's true, that at some point in a parallel track, you'd reach, a fork in the road where you gotta make up your mind, Fish or cut bait. And one, for instance, he said, well, the drawings that were being made. Now, the drawings, it's already a school, so it wouldn't need a whole lot of rebuilding in terms of permanent walls and stuff, although it would have to be reconfigured as an elementary school, smaller toilets and stuff. But anyway, if drawings existed, and they're all digital, you could say to the guy, how much would it cost to reformat this for this use? And it'd tell you, and then you'd either do it or not. Bigger decisions, I can't really speak to. He's his finger on that. But that was his thought. You could sort of fly in parallel to a certain point. But ideally, it would be kind of a symbiotic relationship. They've done all this tremendous legwork already, which would benefit this other project. I can't tell you, in my mind, what 50 new households would mean to the town. More kids in the school, more guys in the fire department, more business for the businesses in town. It would really invigorate the town. It'd be pretty transformational to the town. But it would be a very big, long-term, serious set of commitments, so.
So,
Pat,
yes, go ahead, Martha.
could I just make one quick comment? It's something I've thought about over the years with all this talk about, dealing with one of the schools not being there or not. How it's set up with the former high school and with the current elementary school, and the former high school has got the auditorium that the players use, and it's the only auditorium in the valley. However, the elementary school has the only gym. And so that's something that if that was something that the town decided they wanted to do and move everybody from the elementary into the former high school building, that's something to consider. They need to have a gym.
And a cafeteria.
Can I
And a
speak to that?
cafeteria.
Yes, that question comes up from everybody.
Yeah,
So,
it came up
Okay,
several
I'm
times.
sorry. I didn't hear anybody else say it, so I'm sorry, I should have.
So Phil made clear that if you had a developer making a housing unit like this, generally they make some area, they'll build an area for you for community use. So that's one thought there. The second thought is that a elementary school doesn't really need a full-size gym, they can have like Stockbridge doesn't even have a playroom, you know, so you could take an area inside the high school that's already a big open area, and use that for winter, PA, or, you know, for whatever. Or you could raise money and build a gym if you want, but.
One question I had, which may not even apply, but from my observations throughout decades and, you know, states that I've lived in, we're mixing a school with a community center in the same building. I don't know that I've seen a school that's not its own independent building in a while.
Well, the plan that the repurposing committee has the school in there. They're
Right,
running a
but
big
not-
piece of it to the,
Not the whole elementary school.
it's certainly something you'd have to look at, I can't speak.
Right, so that would be something for the task force. You know, we have Act 250, FEMA River Corridor to clear. We have, how many subs we would need to go out to bids to. We would need to look into coordinating services and efforts with VHI so that maybe we could streamline something. Can we secure funding without taxes? Does this concept fit into the congressional direct spending grant? So does it still satisfy the needs of the grant for the percentages and all that? Does it fit into the town plan? That is, you know, these are the people that we're gonna look for to be on this task force to find these things out for us. Identify potential grant and funding or investors. Are we going with, you know, public grant funding, or are we looking for private investors 100%? And then we've gotta look into septic designs and water hookups and all of that. That's, you know, these are big hurdles. And in the end, is it affordable to the residents that we're seeking to move to this town? Will the 50 units be, I'm not saying low-income affordable housing, but will they be affordable to what we're trying to attract for residents to the town? So we are looking, we would support looking into this concept, and we are interested in having someone that wants to step up to the plate and become part of this task force, to come forward and say, you know, I don't mind rolling up my sleeves and looking into this concept. We welcome that. And so that talking paper can be made available to anyone that does wanna have interest in working with this. Come on forward and, let's take a look at it. See.
Those are all really good points, and some of those things, it's too complicated to get into, but those are all very good points. I'm happy to involve myself in this as much as possible, as long as the select board treats it, and you don't have to do the project, but would allow me to go and ask questions. For instance, I tried to talk to the state about getting radar signs at either end of the town. When they found out that I wasn't a law officer and I wasn't an official member of the town, they never returned my emails after that. So I'm happy to do that, but I want it to be clear that I'm doing this on behalf of the town. You don't have to give me a badge or anything.
And there's a lot of hurdles here, but there was a lot of hurdles for VHI, and so some of those hurdles, you'd have tremendous amount of hurdles if some of those weren't already cleared for you. So there's more hurdles ahead. You know, they did it, it can be done, or at least let's give it a shot. We would be supportive.
But I think the first thing is really give it to these committees, hear from your committees and let them know. So I appreciate it, thank you.
Yeah, I think, you know, we would look upon this the same way as we look upon VHI. I mean, they have our support, you would have our support, and hopefully it leads to something that's terrific for the town.
I wanna make it clear though that, you know, I'm just a guitar player. I can't carry a $15 million project on my tiny back, but I would certainly do everything I can do to do the kinds of things that.
He's an idea guy.
Well, you need that too.
Mary,
Mary Fratini, I have two questions.
not yet, Robert.
Can I make
Rob, if I'm understanding you correctly, you want the select board to take the document, the proposal, and send it to the planning commission, the budget committee, and the housing committee,
Yeah.
get some initial feedback, right? Okay. And my second question is, when you say you want to be able to talk to people on behalf of the town, how are we defining that? Because,
Well, that's a real good question. I mean, to my mind, when
yeah.
I want, because I had this experience trying to get these radar signs up, you know, and I've had conversations with the state casually about housing stuff, but to go and talk seriously to people, I mean, we had with the, you know, in first talking to the school board, you know, you weren't quite certain, you know, how deeply you wanted to step into this before, you know, it was awkward. And so it's just that kind of thing. You don't have to give me a badge, I don't have to have a certificate. I just need to know that if I go and talk to somebody in the state or whoever, that I can do so honestly representing the interests of the town and not just some cranky old guy, you know, in the south end of town.
There's a dating period before commitment comes along. So, you know, it's just, we'll hold hands, but, you know, maybe.
But you
not-
understand what I
maybe-
mean.
Yeah, understand, totally. Mhm. And we went through that with VHI as well.
I haven't been to a meeting in a while.
Well,
Just-
We need to introduce ourselves.
Excuse me, this is Susie Smolin. Just want to make sure that I understand. Wait, it's my turn, Robert. Hi, it's Susie. The idea is that the school and the existing plans for the community center would be in the high school operating together?
Well, yeah, you know,
Yes.
depending on how much room was left and what they wanted, how they wanted to work. I mean, it's a way downstream thing, they'd have to have priorities, because there wouldn't be the amount of room, I don't think, although maybe there is, to have the entire Megillah in that building. And if I were the repurposing committee, I'd wanna sit and have a priority and see what's gonna go where, but
Okay.
we're way downstream from that.
Because one of the things, just from my personal experience as a teacher, one of the things the elementary school's looking forward to is having access to places where their music teacher has a place to be and the art teacher and all of the special teachers have. Just wanted to mention that. My only other comment is that I know it's difficult to find housing here, but it's equally or more difficult to find employment here. So in terms of attracting people to fill these units, we have to I think that should be considered.
Well, that's no developer will do this unless they've done marketing research that indicates that between Killington and Sugarbush or whatever, there's enough people to make the housing attractive. They don't do it unless they think they can make money.
Oh, I see. So this is an outside interest coming in, putting in a building, and it's
Basically,
their
you
business.
woo an outside interest who finds the investors, who deals with the
Yeah.
state, who does all that
Yeah,
business. And
yeah,
that doesn't mean that they wouldn't find out that the purity of the river's an issue or something. There's no guarantees in this. But
Right.
to me, the having housing in the town and more people in the town is a huge plus. Phil felt that it was sort of win-win for everybody, where the kids get a new school, the town gets housing, and the repurposing committee still gets their community center, although it might be at a reduced level, I don't know, we don't know that yet.
yeah. I just, yeah. Is this the time to express opinions about this, or was this down the road?
I think it goes down the road a little
Okay,
bit,
all right,
yeah.
thank you.
But here's a copy of the,
Person on.
Oh, thank
here's
you.
a copy of the paper. There's a couple of copies, I think I got 4 or 5 more copies, if anybody wants them.
Okay, and we have June too
Okay.
after them, yep.
So you want to take
Yes.
this?
May I make a
Deb,
comment,
you've
please?
had your hand raised on Zoom. Thank you very much. Pat says you can speak.
Who is this, Deb, who?
Deb Matthews.
Speaking of housing.
So, you're giving me permission to speak.
No,
Is that
not yet.
correct?
No, it's not
yet.
correct.
Deb Matthews is gonna speak.
Oh, it's okay.
Thank you. This
You
is Deb
guys are doing
Matthews,
a great job.
and we have had a housing committee now for 3 years, I believe, and we have a meeting on May 1st. We have a wonderful person that works for us, with us, through the White River Consortium. Her name is Sarah Danley, and they just hired a person in the consortium that basically is a developer specialist. And Sarah comes to all of our meetings. It would be great we would like to be involved, and it would be great to get a copy and look at things. And we also have been putting housing data together that we're hoping to present to the planning board and then to the select board. So it's 11 o'clock at the town office on May 1st is our next meeting. So anybody that's interested is welcome.
Perfect. The ball is rolling already.
11 o'clock, the 1st of May.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd be happy to come and visit.
So,
I think the housing committee is certainly first place that things should go.
Okay, we have Dune?
I was just gonna say, it's interesting. What it does for me is it makes what VHI is attempting to do seem really like easy and doable compared to that.
Okay, Robert, you're up.
well, I just want to know if everyone in the meeting understands the acronym NIMBY.
What was that?
NIMBY.
Not in my backyard.
Yeah, well, that
Well,
is
it's in Rob's backyard.
well, it's not my backyard, and people are looking for housing, and with regards to the repurposing of the high school, it's obvious to an investor like Rob Gardner just said. They have no interest in investing in a situation of demise. So with regarding those conversations, I've said this since 2014 amongst select board meetings, school board meetings, planning and zoning board meetings. If you do not have quality education for their children, no one of any logic or intelligence and wisdom will move their family to 05767. And that is something that I'm so, it's been 10 years saying if you educate the children, economic development will happen. And it's been in total demise. And the education of a child in Rochester is, if I were a parent of 2 children with my wife looking to move to Vermont, the first question is, what is the quality of education to educate my children? And in Rochester, it basically is showing up on the town clerk's parking lot on a Saturday, removing your refuge. So it's a wake-up call. It's so simple. You educate the children, you give them a proper and precise place to learn things and do things. And right now I'm in the midst of trying to get a 2nd grade class to the Vermont Precision Museum in Windsor.
Okay, thank you, Robert. That's good. You've had your time. Thank
Who
you.
are you to tell me I've had my time?
3 minutes. He has a meeting tonight.
Well, wait a second.
Someone
Who
else
runs
wants to speak. Someone else wants to speak. Thank you.
Who runs the clock?
I do. Mike?
Mike McIntyre, I got a question for Robert.
Yeah.
Not you, Robert Frank. Robert, why don't you, since you live in Bethel, why don't you talk to that select board and kind of let Rochester have their meeting and get along with it?
Could you repeat that question in a proper manner?
Said that you live in Bethel. Well, this is Rochester Select Board meeting, so why don't you call the Bethel Select Board and talk with them and let Rochester have their meeting?
So who is speaking?
We all are.
Mike McIntyre.
Oh, well, hey, Mike, it's great to know that you're attending this meeting.
Okay, do you have an answer for his question? No? Okay. We can move on now. We can move on. Thank you, though. Good? You good?
I'm good.
Okay. Number 8 on our list, discussion about consideration of adopting a park and ride lighting proposal by Green Mountain Power Option 2. I don't know if I have the paperwork on that. Is Jeff online?
No, he's not.
Okay.
No.
What they were going with, they were deciding, they had a couple options about how to properly light the EV charging station down here on Route 100. What they are going with is what Green Mountain Power proposed as the best option for them. To put a light on the pole that is to the southern side of the parking lot, but over towards the road. It would give it enough light for people that have no light at all at night to charge their cars. It would give them some light in the parking lot. It was agreed to allow Green Mountain Power to go ahead. There is a letter that we probably don't have in front of us tonight, but we will be signing it maybe at our next meeting. We will allow them to do the light that way. The town of Rochester will not be paying for the light because we already pay for 47 street lights in this town. And so, and if we so choose that we have complaints about the lighting, whether it be too much or too little, they would then go with a different plan. So we're driving a little bit of a hard bargain about it, but we are getting some lighting down there, and we'll see how it works out. So we're riding with their proposal to begin with. Next on our list is a complaint pertaining to cleanup at 3620 Vermont Route 100. I don't have a lot of backup on this one either, correct? No.
I don't believe you.
There was a call for someone that lives in the area of I can identify that as Twitchell Settlement, of a problem with campers, boats, and items all around a mobile home that may or may not be inhabited right now. And that there potentially is problems with rodents. So what we're going to do is take this complaint and we're going to pass it on to Health Officer John White. And we're going to ask him to go down and do a site visit and take a look and advise us that if we need to take further action with it. John will also contact the owner of record for the property prior to his visit to obviously let them know that he is going to be doing a visit, not necessarily grant permission, but let him know that he's going to be doing that site visit. So that's what action we're taking on that right now. And we will get in touch with John tomorrow about it. So stay tuned if there is more to be said about it. Number 10, read and sign the debarment and suspension form for NBRC. That is Northern Borders Regional Commission funding. These are 2 certificates, this one and there's another one that covers the town because we are applying for a grant. We have to sign a document that says we are presently not suspended, debarred, or proposed for disbarment from any federal agency. We have not within the 3-year preceding this application been convicted or had a civil judgment rendered against us for commission of fraud as a town. We're not presently indicted for any criminal charges. And we have not within the 3-year preceding this application had 1 or more public transactions terminated for cause of default. So we're in good standing is what we're saying. They probably could have rewritten it that way rather than say, are you bad, are you bad, are you bad? But no, we're good. So, in the name of the town of Rochester, Chair of the Select Board, I am signing this document saying that we are in good standing. The next document is for the same reason, but, it covers, our town assistant and our grant administrator, Kristen, to the same thing. That she's in good standing. So these two documents are on public record that they were signed and we're moving forward with that grant. It was a requirement of a grant. And then number 11, read and sign the 3-page document. Oops, we're done that. Yeah, we're good. Martha.
I would like to make a comment.
Okay, you have discussion on this issue. Correct?
No,
You have
we're gonna
discussion
go
about the forms?
retroactive. No, we're gonna go retroactive into issues put forth by attendees regarding my residence in Bethel and my involvement in Rochester.
Why don't we move that into public comment in just a little bit? As we
Hey,
have
Patty.
people that are still waiting to speak, Robert.
No,
We still have people that are waiting to speak.
Patty,
We've
I just
already
wanna
put that issue, we've already closed that issue, and you can bring it up again during public comment.
Okay, well, for years, I've been wanting you to run for state representative.
We're not talking about any of this right now, Robert. Okay, we're moving
Go
on.
forward.
We're moving on to a
Go
report.
forward.
Don't make me mute you. We're gonna hear from the library. We're going forward. Hi back there.
Hi.
Identify yourself.
I'm Barbara Shenton. I'm the treasurer for Rochester Public Library, and I need to have the select board appoint two members to our board because we had 2 resignations. So for the one that Robin Bebo Long held, we'd like to appoint Vincent Martinez. And that would be the 1-year term that would be up, that was initially held by Sandy Lincoln. So that term will end in 2026. And Doreen Jones also withdrew, and her term ends in 2028. And I'd like to nominate Melody Balzon, Balczon, for her position. And our meeting is tomorrow, so they'll both come in and sign the paperwork, which they need, because we need to reform our board.
I don't know that we can do that because it wasn't warned that we would be appointing someone. Does anybody have an opinion on that? I think that this, appointing someone to a position needs to be warned. So it may have to go to our next select board meeting.
Okay.
Because the public needs to know who is up for the appointment.
Okay.
Anybody disagree with that? Well, if Larry doesn't, I'm going with it.
Excuse me, Pat?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the lady who was speaking. I need her name and the name of the 2 people she would like to appoint.
It's Barb Shenton.
Okay, thank you.
And go ahead.
Barb Shenton.
I can give you the
And
names.
she wanted to appoint somebody named Vince and somebody named Melody, but I didn't get their last
Should I
name.
come up to the speaker?
Yeah, that's good. Right there's good.
Martha, it's Vincent Martinez for a 1-year term. And
Martinez.
And Melody Balzon, Balczon, for a term that ends in 2028.
And since 2028. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, if it was on our agenda, I would have absolutely no problem with the appointees, so.
Okay, I'm sorry, like I
You can
mentioned
put him
it
to work a little bit.
I mentioned it to Julie, but I didn't know that it had to be.
Okay, we lost the highway department.
Did you, sorry, and if I'm out of
Go
line,
ahead.
let me know, but you're gonna read that other letter, right, like that long one? Cause that has to be read, the resolution.
It says, please read, I read it. You mean out loud?
You have to read
everybody.
that out loud. I'm really sorry. I am so sorry. It's gotta be read out loud
I will
and then
never go on
signed.
vacation.
I know, you're gonna run out of fuel later. I'm sorry.
You want me to
Bless
do
your
it?
heart, I am sorry.
Yeah, absolutely.
That needs to be read aloud and then
And then
signed.
sign.
I apologize.
With heart.
So this relates to the same grant, the Northern Borders,
Yes.
and I will read it. Authorized official requirements, application for NBRC funding. The NBRC requires a formal approval from the applicant's legal authority to allow an executive called the authorized official to sign all NBRC investment documents on the applicant's behalf. Applicants must submit this approval in the form of an authorized official resolution with the application. The requirements for the authorized official resolution are detailed below. Only the authorized official specified in the resolution can sign NBRC documents that legally bind the applicant. Changes to authorized official / key grant personnel. Once a project is awarded funding, should the authorized official change, this triggers an amendment to the grant. If the authorized official changes during the performance period of an award, grantees are required to provide NBRC with an updated authorized official resolution and an executed key contacts form to document the change. While NBRC does not mandate the form for the authorized official resolution, recognizing many entities have their own template, the resolution must indicate the executive's name and title, as well as state their permission to sign all NBRC investment documents that bind the applicant. Examples of legal authorities include select boards and councils for municipalities, commissions for counties, state authorized official or boards for states, boards of directors, or trustees for nonprofits. Only authorized officials may sign NBRC documents that bind the applicant or represent finances related to the grant award. Reimbursement requests SF 270, annual reporting, SF 425, etc. Other project contacts. If a grantee wishes for other grant personnel to be included in project-related correspondence, a key contacts form would need to be provided for those individuals, but does not need to be supported by any type of resolution or other support documentation. As a reminder, only authorized officials may sign NBRC documents that bind the applicant or represent finances related to the grant award. Authorized officials are not required to sign quarterly progress reports. Authorized official resolution requirements. An authorized official resolution, also known as signing authority resolution, typically includes the following elements: the governing body of the corporation, usually its board of directors, a specific date when officers decide to authorize the resolution, a specific person by name and title to sign a specific contract, a different office of the corporation, not the person authorized to sign the contract, certifies that the resolution occurred on the specific date. Example authorized official resolutions. Corporate resolution example. I, Pat Harvey of the town of Rochester, an authorized entity licensed to conduct business in the state of Vermont, do hereby certify that the following is a true and correct copy of a resolution duly adopted at a meeting of the board of directors of this corporation duly held on Monday, April 14th, 2025, at which meeting a duly constituted quorum of the board of directors was present and acting throughout, and that such resolution has been modified, rescinded, or revoked and is at present in full force and effect. Resolved, that Kristen Lapel, who is Assistant Town Clerk and Grant Administrator, is empowered to act on behalf of the town of Rochester as the authorized official. In witness whereof, the undersigned has affixed his, her, or her signature this 14th day of April 2025, and that is what you signed. So, there you have it.
Thank you. Sorry.
No problem.
That's for the grant that they will be submitting Friday for the northern borders.
And do we have, are they giving us any idea when we would know about this grant?
No. Nope. It's been a lot. Thank you.
Okay, these are all signed. Utilities operator.
You awake?
Yep. Everything's good, I guess.
With the utilities.
Yep.
You know,
Got-
Finish, please.
Got a fire truck that it's gonna cost us some money.
Costs $1,000 just to tow it.
It's gonna cost $33,000 to fix it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So we
So
have a decision.
I told them to order the parts last Friday. Be at least 2 weeks getting them.
Mhm.
So I'm guessing they'd be down 3 to 4 weeks.
So the assessment of the rest of the vehicle is that it's.
Well, you could have started, you could have fixed one cylinder, but, I talked to several different mechanics about this. And they said, if you do a half-ass job, you're gonna tear it apart again right off. You might as well rebuild the motor and at least maybe you'll get. It's tired, but you know what? The truck's worthless right now. I mean.
Right, it's a lot more than that to replace it.
Right, and you can't, I've been looking around at prices of secondhand trucks and it's ridiculous.
Mhm.
You're talking a 25-year-old truck, you'd be lucky to get it for under 220,000 at best. And that's if you can find one. Most of them are running 30 to 35 years. And they're still over like 150 to 180,000. So, we got a truck that's 33 years old. We bought it second hand, maybe that wasn't the best choice. But it had a good, you can see where they done the work on the truck and everything else, so just one of those things. There's,
Okay, let's proceed then.
I would like to make a comment.
and I stopped spending our money, so we have some to put towards it, but, we
It
don't
is
have
what it is.
30,000 left in the budget to spend on it.
Yep, it is what it is, I hear you.
I would like to make a comment.
Go ahead, Robert.
I want to thank Gopher and Terry
Both of
for
them.
their help, on my unfortunate situation on St. Patrick's Day. But I also have very curious suspicion with regarding a crash north on Route 100 out of Rochester. And very curious about, what happened.
I don't think the
crashed
select board
car.
meeting is the place to start doing this sort of discussion.
Well, I don't think that's up to you.
No.
Rochester
nobody-
Fire Department has no comment, Robert. You wanna know something, call state police.
We didn't, I'm not aware that you even had an incident, so this is not the venue for that. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Terry,
Yeah.
going back to your utility hat,
Yeah,
being new here, I'd like to learn a little more about your facilities. Maybe we could meet one day, you can give me
Sure.
a nickel tour.
we glad to.
Okay.
It's gonna cost a dime nowadays.
We have spring walk around next month, or the 28th, so.
Meet with them after
That
that.
could
Or?
be
Yeah.
fun. Yeah, hopefully if it's a nice day, it's gonna be
Yeah.
fun.
I'll get a hold of you and we'll come
Yeah,
to a
just-
mutually agreeable time.
Give me a holler.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
thank
nice.
you.
Grant updates,
I'm gonna say nothing for today.
because we don't have Jeff, right?
Correct, we do not have Jeff.
I don't either, yeah, I don't either. Repurposing high school committee update, I don't think I see anybody here from the committee.
No, and there's nobody online either. I can just speak to
Yeah.
that. They plan on submitting that
The
Northern
grant, we
Borders
talked
grant
about
on
it for a
Friday.
bit.
Yep.
Select board update, there was a little bit of a curiosity going around about the apparatus that is just outside our parking lot out here. That was installed right after the Irene flood, and it's a cell tower. It operates a small circle around the village, but it would serve this building as well. It was designed for emergency uses. The company that was contracted with the state of Vermont to install, and the whole program just kind of fell apart. So we have this apparatus out here that is not functional, but we discovered that somebody comes and services it every year. But it's not plugged in. So it doesn't function, but we needed to get down to the nitty-gritty about how did it get here, what is its purpose, and what can we do with it. A while ago, I'd had a discussion with the company that built it, and they were going to look around for another town that could possibly use this temporary cell tower thing. But then this week, and I'm not sure how this manifested, but we got a message from a company called Coverage Co., C-O-V-E-R-A-G-E Co., and they are the company, the history is complicated, but the quick answer is that that solar sites were funded with federal funds, and it's powered by solar, through the Economic Development Agency. As part of the agreement, the sites must remain available for the Rochester lease duration, which ends in 2029. The EDA understands that the solar sites may need to be moved or stored for later deployment, but the equipment must be available for the public good or until a new network operator is found. So if it's in the way, it can be moved, but the town would need to keep us notified of its location. The Rochester site has been isolated from the grid for some time and is not currently active. So it's been several years. They've been looking for a new vendor to pick up these solar-powered cell sites, and they have not found that. So, although we have cell service in the town, we have generator, we're fairly well covered nowadays. We're not looking for that apparatus to give us any relief if we have another devastating event like Irene. So, but we're locked into looking at it until 2029. I was, someone from the town that lives off grid was interested in, hey, if you're not doing anything with it, I'll take it. And unfortunately, we can't give it away until at least 2029. And at 2029, who knows? They might just come and scoop them all up, whatever. But that was one of the things that the select board was looking at while we were, since our last meeting. We also closed out our ARPA funding. We plugged in all the numbers for the final spending of the $325,000, and it's closed out. So the ARPA days are behind us. We have spent the money, and I feel as though we spent it quite wisely. In meetings past, we have noted what we have spent it on, and thank you to June and Frank for helping us spend that money. Last meeting, we had a discussion about the visiting nurses and BIATA services. We did get a response from them saying that they do indeed provide services to our town and plan on improving the services to our town. So we're at this point in time, until we hear something otherwise again, we're not pulling the funding from that. We're gonna keep it in our budget, and we'll be providing them with the funding that they need, so we'll put that one to rest. That is it from the select board, unless you have something more to add.
Not me, no.
No, you were involved in all of this as well, so. Old business or public comment? Robert? You're up.
Well, I'd like to address the comment made by someone named Michael McIntyre regarding this is very important for both and all select board meeting for select board members.
Well, let me advise you first, Robert, that Mike McIntyre is no longer in the room.
I don't care if Mike McIntyre
Okay,
expired.
I just wanted you to be aware.
Well, I'm just saying that I was verbally assaulted in a hardware store on a Saturday morning by Mike McIntyre.
That's not a place for discussion
No,
in this
thank
meeting.
you. It's not your. No, this is public commentary. Mike McIntyre
About things to do with town, this about things about town business. So what happens on private property is not, it does not have a place here at this meeting.
No, you're way overreaching your authority. I was assaulted by Mike McIntyre in a Rochester hardware store defending an employee at the Max Market, and I was like, what the heck is going on here? So there's a lot to discuss, and I'm wondering why the agenda is not addressing the property on Route 100, 39, I forget the address. Where is that on the agenda?
It is on my agenda as number 9, so it's 9 lines down from where we approved the prior meeting minutes.
Oh, that's
Complaint
great.
pertaining to cleanup.
We'll move forward to that request of someone that complains about a property and anonymously records it into and onto the agenda of Rochester. So who is the complainant and who is the person that called the town of Rochester anonymously and put forth property that needs to be cleared or cleaned up? What?
I believe it was an abutting landowner.
Oh, really?
Really?
It's kind of ironic that you're in the real estate business. So
Okay. Okay, the time has run out.
What I'm saying is,
The time has run out.
well,
Thank you.
what time clock do you use?
I can't use my phone, so I'm using an hourglass. Someone else will speak now, Robert. Thank you.
Hi, I want to revisit the building permit that was issued for the Mini Mart Sing Shop. I couldn't find on the materials you gave me, I did see where it does have a limitation on the height, but we talked about the sign, you'd mentioned the old sign had been centered on the pole, and that, does the building permit specify in any way how that was going to be done? And the reason I'm asking is because there is something in the guidelines, the town guidelines, about how far into the road and public spaces, I understand it.
Well, it's not the road, it'd be the sidewalk area.
Sidewalk,
which
yeah.
is
Questionable.
defined and not defined.
Right.
The ice cream cone that hung off of the former sign took the same amount of space
Okay.
as the current sign. The ice cream cone was seasonal,
Yeah.
so it wasn't there year round. But nonetheless, I'm gonna call it a
see.
footprint because but it's verbal. I mean, it's vertical.
Yeah.
The footprint is the same as it was before. I'm not exactly sure that generates a grandfathered situation to it. But, again, it'll probably be, yet another discussion at a planning board meeting.
Okay.
There was a suggestion about putting, a stanchion so that people could not walk into it.
Right.
But there's,
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I
we're
spoke.
working with the owner.
Okay. Yeah, I spoke with him too, and he mentioned putting something out there.
Mhm.
So great. So.
Nancy
Can I just finish?
Yeah, go ahead.
I would just like to suggest for consideration the idea of the select board and whoever else would like to do a walk through town on the existing sidewalks. Just to, in previous discussions and making reference to specific areas of sidewalks, people seem to be perceiving them differently, and I just think it would be a good idea, because it's not clear where there are sidewalks in town and how do we have a contiguous sidewalk going down, not for any other purpose than just to have that information to start with. I think it would be a beneficial thing to do.
Okay, I am aware of where our sidewalks are. I mean, we did a study probably about 7, 8 years ago of, they were going to revitalize all the sidewalks and reroute some of the sidewalks. It was a pretty stiff price tag, so it was tabled at that time. So we're taking sidewalks one small piece at a time when
Sure.
we can get grant money to do that.
Okay.
There's a lot of things about the sidewalk situations where sidewalks would not be existent as you see them now, because it also takes into account traffic ingress and egress. And so it was a pretty dramatic change on the movement of both cars and people
Yes.
in the town. So, and the parking situation was going to be reduced considerably. So basically it was the cost, but all in all, it was just, the concept was not fitting into what we had for funding. And
Right.
if grant money comes along, we could look into that again. But
Okay.
it's very, very complicated.
It's complicated and it's expensive, and I understand that, so thank you.
But we haven't forgotten you. We haven't forgotten.
Oh, no,
the
it's
sign.
not me,
We're
it's
still
not
going
me,
for it.
it's just, I had this probably not original idea of thinking that I could borrow a couple of walkers from the park house and have people see what it's like trying to get from the park house to the grocery store or
But
the
we're
bank.
working on the bottom of
It's
Bethel
hard.
Mountain Road right now.
No, I know.
For those same people.
Yeah.
And so, and that is quite a bit of money that we don't have to spend
Yeah.
on it. So
Okay.
we'll keep going with it.
Yes, thank you.
Nancy Woolley.
Yes.
I would like to shout out a thank you to Kevin Dougherty and Kristen Lapel for their emails to the public and the farmers market people to come and join us on Saturday morning to rake the park. And we were very lucky. We did get some people, Kevin and Paula, Mary's father, John Fertini, Davy Domina, and Jeremy Reed from Stockbridge. And then today, Cooter and Teddy came and picked it all up.
Okay.
You may have seen little dots of stuff all around the park. So thank you very much. It's a good start to the season.
Of enjoyment. Anything else?
I just want to make sure has the road crew been thanked for the phenomenal job they did this winter?
Well, is winter over?
Well, technically. Well, I want to thank them ahead of time.
I know, well, I guess we're gonna.
I wish he was here to hear it.
Yeah.
He deserves that.
Anything else? I move to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Have a good night.
Pays the bill.